to grow, new designs for women, and so much more. GVArtwork.com, bringing it full force to the plate for baseball season this year. Whether you check them out online, GVArtwork.com, use the sales code FIX10, FIX10 to save 10% on your total purchase. Whether you go to their store in Lakewood, check them out at the Cleveland Indians team shops around Progressive Field, and so much more. GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
The Sports Fix is on iHeartRadio. Download the free iHeart app today. Subscribe to the show and get your fix.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
That's right. You tell them, big radio voice man. You're listening to the Sports Fix. Welcome in a fantastic, fun Friday edition. I'm feeling good. J-Rock, Jerry Myers here as we welcome you back to the Sports Fix across the Sports Fix Radio Network. I love it. It's short and sweet. 216-539-7535. Phones are open for, about the next 10 minutes. 216-539-7535. Hit us up on our social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFix, CLE, all one word. Email us, TheSportsFix@AOL.com. And always, to stay interactive with the conversation, you can always jump in the Mixlr chat room as well. Those of you listening on the website or listening on Mixlr.com, you can jump in the chat room there. Always a great time from those guys, too. Love to hear from the Peanut Gallery over there in the chat room. And you hear the music, Indians Fever, Tribe, as we said. Really, guys, buying, selling, all of that stuff is a conversation best saved for 7 to 10 days from now, because I truly believe that, say, a week from this coming Monday, we will truly know where the Indians stand for the rest of the season. And I know earlier in the season, sometimes people talk all dramatic like that, and it was too early. But I do not believe it's too early to talk like that anymore. You are coming out of the gates, as we were just talking about, with an 11-game trip here that is going to decide your fate. It's the entire division. It's 4 with Detroit, 4 games in 3 days with Detroit. You've got that doubleheader there to make up. Then you've got 3 in the Twin Cities with Minnesota, and you wrap it up with 4 in Kansas City. Of course, Detroit and Kansas City, the 2 teams in front of you. Kansas City, it's a 1-game gap, not only in the division, but in the wild card. Remember, they're going to be right there in the middle of that as well. Those 4 games, big. And the Indians, as we know, play much better in the first half at home than they do on the road, as does tonight's pitcher, Trevor Bauer. Anibal Sanchez in Detroit tonight. Trevor Bauer, we've talked about, I've liked the strides that he's made so far. On the road is the next place where he can make it. And boy, he really couldn't pick a better day than tonight to do that. And then, you know what's funny? And I don't know, maybe you guys have gotten, and I have not, because since we've been live on the air, I haven't been able to hear. I know Tito does his press conference here around this time where he talks to the media about what's coming up for the series and for the weekend. The Indians release that they sent me only had Bauer, and then Kluber for the first game tomorrow, to be determined for the second game and for Sunday. Now, that very well could be the case that the Indians don't have it. However, that email comes out very early in the morning from the Indians, because just looking at the ESPN schedule for the Indians, they have those slots filled in. They've got Danny Salazar, taking the mound for the second game, the evening game against Detroit tomorrow, and then Josh Tomlin finishing the series up against Smiley on Sunday with the afternoon start. So it could just be a matter that the Indians release came out before this. Maybe Terry Francona made it official in his meetings here, and I don't know yet. But see, now Bruce in the chat room is saying McAllister. So as of now, the official word from the Indians that I got last was to be determined. So we'll just leave that to be determined. We know Bauer and Kluber will be the first two Indians to go out there and take the mound against the Tigers. Before we get into anything else, I've got some notes here about the Indians, the Tigers, the Kansas City Royals here in the Central. Now look at the three teams. Obviously, first place, you've got Detroit. They're 53-38. Kansas City, a game better than the Tribe in second place, 48-46. Looking at the games remaining, the Indians have 21 of their final, basically a third, a little under a third, but pretty close. 21 games remaining against Kansas City and Detroit. So you control your own destiny. No doubt. It starts right here with this series. Of the games remaining, teams over 500, the Indians play 35 games against teams with a 500 or better record. They've got 33 at home, 35 on the road for what's left. Now let's look at the other two. You've got Detroit. They've got 17 games remaining against Cleveland and Kansas City. They've got 41. They have actually the toughest schedule of the three teams of what's remaining. They play 41 games against teams currently at or over 500, which is 6 more than the Indians. Kansas City has the easiest, actually. They only play 30 games with teams at or over 500. Detroit split 34 at home, 37 on the road. Kansas City, they've got 16 left against the Tribe and the Tigers, 30 left against teams at 500 or better, which is 5 better than the Indians. So they have the easiest. The Indians have the middle, and the Detroit Tigers have the toughest of the remaining schedules, and they're split evenly. Kansas City, 34 at home, 34 on the road. So that kind of sets the stage for this three-team run. And as I said, Kansas City, I mean, you don't need me to tell you, but they are every bit as much a target when it comes to that wild card as well. They've stayed in. I remember in the spring talking about Kansas City, and I know Mike and Dan, they liked them, but I think they both thought that the pitching was going to fail. I said, man, something about this Kansas City team. I said, I don't know if it does hold up, but I think that they're going to at least be strong for the first half to 2/3 of the season, and bam, they're right there still. Who knows if they fade late? I know the Indians hope they fade late, but I just remember I liked the way they looked coming out, and I thought that they were going to be tougher than some people, I think, anticipated Kansas City being there. But anyway, so this is where things are set up for the Indians. And now looking beyond that, we talked just a little bit ago with JK and joking about needing that month of September, but we went through it with Dan Wismar the other day, with the exception of Detroit and a 3-game stint with Kansas City at the end. The month of September is loaded with teams that you should beat. And you got that makeup game with the Angels, but you've got the White Sox, the Twins, the Astros littered through, and Tampa Bay throughout the month of September. So really, the stage is set for a lot of people that say it's not last year. The stage is set for it, but they have to do it. And that's the other thing I want to get to. Before I get to the break, Jeff Gorman will be coming up in just about 5 minutes, but the Indians, they can make a trade, and David Price would be great, but it's not the heal-all. They've got to do better. And I've been asking people all week, what's your 3 things? What do you need to see from the Indians? Mine, it's no surprise. This is nothing that is not common sense, but I mean 3 guys to me control the Indians' fate in the second half. And I mean this because they are the ones that have to come through. I think on the offensive side, got to be Nick Swisher. I mean, we've seen him warm up. I know, what is he, 288 in the month of July here before the break. So it's a small sample size, but it's better than where he had been. He has got to get a second. He's got to have a good last 2 months like he had that last month last year. You know, he doesn't need to go out here and be a world beater, but we just need Swisher to go out here and jump. I mean, 208. You've got to think if Swisher can even just hit 240 or 250. Get it up there. Just get it up there. Hit yourself 289 the rest of the way. That's what the Indians need. And that's going to be big, though. Nick Swisher is going to be big. And I'm hoping that he, again, can have a second half stretch here of 2 months that matches that last month that he did, because we've done it. They're not going to bench him. We've already had this discussion. That's why he has to help. He's not one that can be moved out of the way for somebody else to step up. Masterson, I believe he can be, although he's my second guy. Masterson, you've got to get something out of him. You just have to. I will say that if you make a trade, obviously for a starting pitcher, depending on what level we're talking about, maybe Masterson can be his helping or hurting can be neutralized a bit by that. But I still think you got to get something out of him. You cannot get nothing all season out of a guy that you had at the front of your rotation and then make the playoffs. If they do, then damn, man, the Indians are even better than we thought. But I think you got to get something out of Masterson, hopefully when he comes off the disabled list, and hopefully they don't rush him off. Hopefully we see they've got a couple of guys. I know AAA arms, but they've got a couple of guys they can bide time if they need to. Don't bring Masterson back until he's healthy. You just did that, and then you put him on the DL. Got to get him back. Got to get his mind right. He could be big. He can, and he worked hard last year to get back. Got himself back. Pitched well in the few outings that he did down the stretch there, but he's going to be big. And as Drupal, assuming that he's a part of this team, and I still believe what I said the other day, that his value is more to the Indians than what he's going to bring in a trade. I think the Indians are going to put him out there for a trade. I'm not saying the Indians aren't going to try. I just think that the return that they get may not be worth sending him out, especially as he shows signs of warming up behind the plate, because as you know, when he's going well, as Drupal can still do. I know there's a lot of people that have just turned on him, and you notice, it's always easier to turn on a guy the closer they are to being out of town as a free agent. It makes it a little bit easier to start to cut the cord, but I still think as Drupal, he's got a contract push to make for himself. If for no other reason, he's got to, show teams in the second half, because he's going to be out here trying to get paid, man. So the Indians need to benefit from that. And I think those three guys are going to be the key for the Indians. Obviously, everybody's got to contribute. We see it this year. If it took however many, it's going to take 90 guys to win a playoff spot this year. The way the people have shuffled up and down from AAA, that's going to be Terry Francona in the offseason. Yeah, it took us 147 guys to win 88 games last year. But everybody chips in. But those three, Swisher, Asdrubal, Masterson, have to do it, or else the Indians, to me, regardless of what trade they pull off, don't have a chance. If two of the three of those guys step up and the Indians make a move and shore something up, whether it's to get another offensive piece or whether it's to get a pitcher, which I really think it's to get a pitcher, but I'm seeing, Price going to Seattle. I see Bruce in the chat room. I'll get the details on that in the break, but that's gonna crush some Indians fans who were hoping for that. But I'm telling you, the packages that they're looking for, I'm gonna have to see who they got, what prospects are in that. I'm gonna take a look at that during the break. We'll update you on that. We're gonna take a break. We'll get you some news. When we come back, Jeff Gorman on the other side of the break. We'll talk Browns with him. Family Day sold out in Akron. Hoyer's cleared to play. We'll hit on all of that with Jeff Gorman. I'll update you on the David Price thing. Right now, we'll check and see. He's headed on his way, apparently, to the Seattle Mariners. Man, Seattle, they're not playing, man. They got Cano. They're not afraid to spend some money here, Price. We'll talk about they're making the push. When we come back, don't go anywhere. The Sports Fix on the other side of the break, right after the news.
The Sports Fix, your choice for intelligent talk.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Intelligent talk.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
These guys must be on the wrong station.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was
Get
terrible.
him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
The Sports Fix.
As we head into this break, I just want to remind you the Sports Fix, proud to be partners with Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck, 5715 Canal Road, just under the 480 bridge in Valley View, Ohio. Bill Hershey and Bill Opalich, I tell you about them each and every day. They'll take care of